What's up, everyone? I hope you're having a good weekend and enjoying yourself and all that. And this is the Friday kind of more laid back podcast type video that I didn't make yesterday. And you might be wondering if something happened, but no, nothing happened. I was busy and I just kind of forgot. That's literally it. So I figure since the last one went over relatively well, we should just do another one. And of course, these articles will be listed in the description just like last time. So, pull up a stump and let's get into it. This first article I found is from The Conjuring house. Now, a lot of us have seen the Conjuring movie, but if you haven't, basically a witch kills herself on the property and pledges her soul to Satan and, horror movie stuff ensues. The Warren family is involved and everything like that. So, the actual house that's in Rhode Island has undergone quite a few owners over the years. And these days, I'm not sure if it's a tourist thing or if it's just like somebody just owns the property and upkeeps it kind of deal. All I know is that I probably wouldn't go there on the off chance that I get followed home by something. But that's just me. Lots of people would go there. So, apparently what happened in this, basically, somebody got fired, like a worker who was working there got fired because a ghost accused him of stealing money from the cash box. The woman who owns it now, Jacqueline Nunez, says that she is the spiritual custodian of the building and the property, and she said that one of the original owners, John Arnold, told her that this employee was stealing cash from the cash box for the past 2 months. The employee, of course, denied this and tried to correct her, thinking John Arnold, you mean like one of the original owners. And as for Nunez, she did fire him because of this. She said, "It doesn't matter whether you believe in the paranormal or not. I and every person is entitled to experiences that bring understanding and meaning to our lives, including being informed or warned about wicked actors and actions. As far as Brian goes, this was the employee's name, my experience with him devolved quickly, culminating in his at-will employment termination. Now, whether or not he did steal anything, can you imagine the feeling that you'd have if you were confronted with that? Like, say that, it was like a work dinner, like one of those ones that they try to give you instead of giving you a raise. Imagine taking like an extra piece of pizza, and then all of a sudden the boss comes in and it's like, yeah, the ghost told me that you took more pizza. At that point, you'd just be like, you know what? I'll just show myself out because you took more pizza, but like the place is haunted too, so I wouldn't want to work there anyways. I probably also wouldn't want to work at the Conjuring house, but that's just me. Yeah, I thought that article was kind of funny, and I thought we could talk about it, and it'll be in the description, like I said. Now, this other article that I found, it's from Mysterious Universe again, and by the same author, Brent Swanser. He really writes some good articles, so definitely check it out. So this one is titled, Campers' Bizarre Encounters with the Strange and Paranormal, and it is very strange, this first one. The guy in particular is recalling a very harrowing camping experience that they had in Colorado when he was a kid. And during this trip at first, they had a lot of fun, as per usual in a lot of these, until one evening, it was a typical campfire gathering. They all went into their old RV, and the guy found himself unable to sleep. He felt scared, like that sense of dread for some reason, and he was nervous enough that he slept with his mother. And here's a quote from him. I remember that I was still so small that my mom let me share the bed with her. I tried to get some sleep, but as the night went on, I still couldn't sleep. And then something happened so terrifying that I still remember it vividly until this day. The camper started to shake, and a bang as something outside started to pound against the RV. My mom was the first to wake up and grasped me tight as she got real scared. I'm sure at first she thought it may have been a bear or something, but then, whatever it was, hopped on top of the rooftop and started to try and bust its way in using the emergency exit on top of the camper. I remember my mom got so scared she tried quickly to wake my brother Pat and my dad, but they seemed to be long passed out. Not even the constant banging would wake them. My brother Pat woke up for a second and asked what was going on, but then seemingly passed out again. I remember my mom was near to crying as she was so scared for her family and for herself. My mom's a very religious person, so she got out a prayer book and started praying. And what was I doing? I was sitting there calm in my mom's arms as whatever it was that was out there was wrecking the hell out of the camper. I wanted to look out the curtains and see what it was, but my mom wouldn't let me, although I did see a shadow. It looked like a dinosaur on 2 legs, something I'm sure nobody's ever seen before. As my mom began to pray, more and more, it seemed to anger the creature. It went crazy outside. Now I wonder what kind of creature could keep up the strength to seemingly go on for hours until daylight, just pounding away at our camper like that. Throughout the night, my mom began to fear for my dad's life, as he began to seemingly stop breathing, and she would wake him every few minutes for a mere second to make sure that he was still breathing. So before I continue, this seems to be a very common thing in some encounters that I've read, where the person having the encounter tries to wake up their friend or girlfriend or whoever, and they just don't wake up. They're somehow like not hearing what's going on outside the tent or outside the camper in this case. And it could be the most like violent sounding thing. There could be like a war going on, and they're just out cold somehow. And I don't know if something like happens to those people when they're like that, like they just kind of get caught under a spell or something. Or, yeah, it's really hard to think about because there's no way that this thing would be able to do anything to a person without being inside the camper or the tent. So you wonder how this happens all the time. You guys probably have better theories than I do about it. So what do you think is happening when like encounters like this happen and there's a lot of noise, a lot of stuff going on, but the people just don't seem to wake up? They seem like they're just like out cold. It's weird, isn't it? And the fact that it got angry when the mother began to pray makes me wonder if this thing was like a demonic manifestation of something. It's really hard to say because I've heard stories about people during like a almost abduction or something by aliens. They'll start to pray and the things seem hurt by it, or they start to back off, or they're afraid of it or something. I've even heard of like regular cryptid encounters where people in their tent will start praying and the thing just seems to leave, or get scared and leave, or get hurt and leave. But it's really interesting how that works, isn't it? And not only that, but the fact that it would look like a dinosaur on 2 legs through the curtain, that's wild. And also, not only that, but how it had the intelligence to possibly know that there is like an emergency exit on top of the RV. It would almost show that it has the intelligence to know this, that it's happened before, and that it worked before, and that pattern recognition as well. But yeah, let's get back into it. The mother says that she believes that whatever was attacking the camper was demonic. Okay, yeah, that's kind of what I thought too, and was trying to possess them. But there were no clear answers for what was happening in the meantime. Even as the sun began to rise, the entity kept up its mysterious assault. And this is another quote from the witness. I watched the sun slowly rise as the blue sky began to light up, but even in pale sunlight, the creature persisted relentlessly. My mom read all night to me the prayers in that book, and I still may recall some. The creature finally stopped attacking the camper, and my mom was relieved for a short while. That is, until my brother woke up to the banging 5 minutes before it stopped. After the banging had stopped, he wanted to go outside to get his shoes that he had left outside, even though he had woken up to this banging of some psychopathic creature outside. My mom pleaded with him to not go outside, but you can't keep a teenager from his Vans shoes, I guess. And that's something else too, just before we continue. Sometimes when people do wake up during like whatever's going on, They seem to act very irrationally and just kind of stand up and go outside the tent. It's just, you wouldn't think that anybody in their right mind would even consider that. But let's continue. He miraculously made it back unharmed with his shoes, but he did tell us about some weird footprints outside and claw marks all over the camper. And that's when my mom knew that this thing was no ghost, but some kind of physical manifestation of some creepy shit, if you don't mind me saying. My dad woke up soon after, like nothing had happened. He basically slept through the whole thing, but my mom, on the other hand, was very brave in my opinion. After my dad woke up, my mom told him all about it, and he was skeptical about it all. After all, my dad didn't even believe in an afterlife back then, even though he went to church every Sunday. Everyone went outside to look at the damage. My mom tried to keep me indoors for fear that the creature may come back. It was daylight now, and the other campers were also wondering what the hell was going on as well. We all saw the damage the creature had done, the footprints on the ground of a 3-toed beast, claw marks inches thick to the thin camper's walls. My mom urged my dad to get us out of there, fast. She wasted no time. Even after seeing the evidence of the creature, my brother and my dad still denied it, and forgot. But that was perhaps the scariest night for my mom and the longest for me. On our way out of the camping area, the police were on their way in and questioning the owners. For what reason? I can only assume it was because of the ruckus that the creature had made all night long. And that's something too, like even after, they're still acting a little irrationally, like, oh, it's whatever, it's fine, when clearly it's not, and clearly there's like weird footprints everywhere and like scratches all over the camper. Maybe it's just a crazy theory or whatever, but it seems like that a lot of these people are like under some kind of spell or something, where they just kind of act very irrationally, sleep a lot deeper than a normal person would, and even then, after waking up and seeing the evidence, still being like, oh, it's fine, it's nothing. When any rational person would see this and be like, yeah, that's a whole bunch of let's get the hell out of here. But better yet, what do you think this creature was? The witness said that it reminded him of a dinosaur. It even had the 3-toed footprints, and it had the claws. But what about the fact that it was seen to be hurt by prayer? And of course, enough people heard something or saw something that the police were called. So it makes you wonder even more, how come that the father and the other brother were just okay with it and didn't seem to see any problem with what was going on? But yeah, it's very mysterious, I find. Like, what was it? Where did it come from? Is it normally there? Is it a manifestation? Why was it hurt by prayer? Why did the father and the brother seem to be in a deep sleep and not wake up during any of this? Like, what happened? But yeah, I thought that story was very interesting and very mysterious. And this last one that I have for you today is from Thailand. The article is titled Mystery Footprints Attributed to the Ghost of a Dead Local Man in Thailand. So the residents of Rayong, Thailand have claimed that mysterious footprints that have appeared outside of their homes on the street are those of their deceased neighbor. The man was known in the area as Uncle. He was a fisherman who would often visit a nearby shop. And the reason why they believe it's this man is because the footprints seem to go and stop at Uncle's house at one end of the trail and then go to the outside of the shop at the other, seemingly mimicking the trail that he often took in life. Initially, all the residents believed that someone had been pulling a prank, but when CCTV footage of the street was reviewed to find out who was responsible, there was no one. And what's even stranger is that when they try to wash away the footprints, they don't go away. And in the odd case that they do, they reappear sometime after, as if he's still walking along his normal routine. He seemed to die quite suddenly too, but before he did, he said he had a premonition in which he'd purchased sweets for the local children, and his fishing catch was particularly bountiful. He returned home then, and he seemed to fall in his bathroom and was pronounced dead at the hospital. So I do wonder if it's a case of someone dying so suddenly and almost without accomplishing what they thought they should in life, that they just kind of stick around and they keep going on as if life never stopped. But what do you think? Do you think that somebody is pulling a bizarre prank? Or do you think that these footprints really do belong to the man known as Uncle? And with that, these articles will be in the description. I hope you enjoyed this episode of me rambling on a Saturday afternoon in a dark room. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow in tomorrow's video. And then I hope you have a good week. And yeah, tune in for tomorrow's video. I'm sure you're going to like it. But thank you for pulling up a stump, and thank you for watching.